야가 이거 중국이나 실로 못 있다고 이야기하는 이 실로 만들 얘기가 이야기가 많아. 어제 내가 현재 생각이 즉시 야치도 신뢰니 의식이 상페이스만 아마 내배나 막 부속
वैसे भी हमारे ये पद का जो है 5 साल का है और तिब्बती लोग 27 देशों से भी ज़्यादा जगह में फैला हुआ है और इंडिया में ही 10 स्टेट और 2 यूनियन टेरिटरी में फैला हुआ है और दार्जिलिंग एक जगह है जहाँ तिब्बती एक जगह में नहीं है मगर स्कैटर्ड कम्युनिटी जैसा है। तो हमने जब इलेक्शन में खड़ा हुआ तब से मैंने बताया कि 5 साल में एक जगह को 2 बार मैं विज़िट करूँगा। क्यों? इसलिए कि सरकार और लोगों के बीच में रिश्ता अच्छा होना चाहिए। तो मैं दार्जिलिंग दोबारा आ रहा हूँ।
और आप थोड़ा बहुत इंडो और तिब्बत का विषय में थोड़ा बता सकते हैं?
इंडिया और तिब्बत तो हम लोग को शरणार्थी राजनीतिक शरणार्थी बन के यहाँ आया और भारत और इंडिया के बीच का रिश्ता जो है वो बहुत पुराना है। 2200 साल पहले ये भी कहा जाता है कि तिब्बत का पहले राजा जो है वो इंडिया से आया है। तो हमारे संबंध वो पुराना है। फिर 7वीं दिशा में 7th सेंचुरी में तिब्बती भाषा जो है लेख जो है वो इंडिया से आया देवनागरी स्क्रिप्ट से। और फिर 8वीं सेंचुरी में बुद्धिज़्म जो आया नालंदा का बुद्धिज़्म जो है वो तिब्बत में वो भी भारत से आया। तो हमारे कल्चरल रिलीजियस लिंग्विस्टिक टाइज सारा भारत के साथ है। अब 1949-50 में कम्युनिस्ट चाइना ने तिब्बत को इन्वेड किया। फिर 51 को हम लोगों को ये 17 पॉइंट एग्रीमेंट जो फोर्स किया। फिर हम लोग उसके नीचे रहने का कोशिश किया 8 साल। फिर चीन ने सब 17 पॉइंट जो है उसको इन्होंने नकार कर दिया, मतलब इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं किया। तो हमारे तरफ से भी वो अब्रोगेट करके 1959 में रामपुजिया जी के साथ 80,000 लोग निर्वासित आना पड़ा। तो हम लोग आज इंडिया में बैठा है मगर हमारे संघर्ष जो है तिब्बत का और चीन का जो डिस्प्यूट उसको सुलझाने के लिए संघर्ष जो है वो पिछले 65 ईयर्स से जारी है। और हम लोग अगर 30, 40, 50 साल लगे तो भी भविष्य में उसके लिए हम लोग तैयार हैं। पेमा खांडू जी तो चीफ मिनिस्टर का अभी 3rd टर्म है अरुणाचल में। उनके पिताजी के समय से और बहुत सारे बुजुर्गों हैं। वो उस मीटिंग में भी तुमुन साहब भी आया जो पहले चीफ मिनिस्टर है। तो पेमा खांडू जी मात्र एक चीफ मिनिस्टर है मुख्यमंत्री जो बोलते हैं कि हमारे सीमा जो है वो तिब्बत के साथ है, चीन के साथ नहीं है। तो पेमा खांडू जी ने बहुत सहायता की है और कुछ तिब्बती वहाँ अरुणाचल में भी रहते हैं, इसलिए हमको भी अरुणाचल जाना पड़ता है और पेमा खांडू जी ने बहुत मदद की।
आपका अब अगले कार्यक्रम कहाँ पे?
अभी यहाँ से कल दिल्ली जाएंगे, फिर धर्मशाला वापस जाएंगे। फिर 1 साल में 6 महीना तो हमको बहुत सारे देशों में जाना है, बहुत सारे लोगों से मिलना है। तो हर साल 1 साल में 6 महीना हम धर्मशाला में काम करते हैं, 6 महीना भागदौड़ करते हैं।
और आपको यहाँ अब हम लोग को यहाँ दार्जिलिंग का तिब्बतन वासी को क्या बोलना चाहते हैं, थोड़ा मैसेज?
तो आज ही मीटिंग किया तो सारा तिब्बती यहाँ था। जो भी बोलना है हम लोग 2-3 घंटा बात किया है, तो जो भी डिटेल्स है सब बोल दिया।
आज आप दार्जिलिंग में कौन सा जगह गया, कहाँ पे?
दार्जिलिंग अभी कुछ 4-5 बार आ चुका हूँ। अभी टूरिस्ट तो है नहीं मैं, तो काम में लगा हुआ हूँ। तो काम ख़त्म होने से वक्त मिलने से जाएंगे मगर वक्त बहुत मुश्किल है।
다들 얘기 다른 지나가 지카소리 다 집어들인 게 말이에요. 근데 나랑기 다 삼수도지 이 공부가 예전만 붙이 예수님 아니 지금 뭐만 갖다 예수님 좀 이 내가 지금 진짜로 아주 매개의 이게서야 개주고 싶지 차대 이거라 매개의 이모스 제제이 지금 나라도 내배 제제 루스 제제 이슈들이 좀 아니 내가 나타나는 신랑 거니야 혹시 도전은 답에 내고도 그렇게 답해 그래도 이번에 직도 공자 줍시 넣어야 되게 가는 배 미송지 보다 신랑 가는 배배 값배야 다 되게 뱀버 줍스라는 것도 신경 줘도 아니 제게 아니 뱀버 쓰는 스토리 차요 그래서 제 뱀버 줍스 쳐네 다 간다 뱀 메시지 나가야 원래 프랑스 전체 탑도 되게 간다 신랑 가기 뭐마 포르투기스 디젤이야 아니 가서는 더치 디젤이야 아까 인지 원규와 내지 인지 값이야 그러나 제 탑도 수지 체제 나 그런 개발 전부 수리샤 그러니까 지금 지금 되게 신랑들 꽤 나와 그래서 빨리 꽤 나와야 우추추 멍책이 예토가 멍책이 대부분 그래 이제 가까이 나서 제가 빨리 가라 그러니까 그게 미팅이 좀 샤죠 되게 납시나는 수샤 그래서 나한테는 그러야 최종 수제 어디니 중샤当然是因为那边的这上面跟对全被的高校我们学校的他剩下的直接经常的人同为原来是哪里呢完了是被介绍了大家看不懂我弟弟就看到你这个严重的给完了就被突然中确实中暑的他呢你完了就这个学业出来没事完了就开始干人都在这些你这个这边叔叔人他们他们就说叔人都이게 내가 배배님고 배배님고 어디에 다 배배 계기 님고 수용되가 다 조치슈디 투미삼벌데 다다 그 중간하고 지원하고 지수도 저기나 내가 지금 슈도 삼도 다 투미삼보다 가도 중반에서 나와이나 다기 배제까지 가보려나 그 이차까지 가보려 돼 얘네 까면 숨주다 양시 수용되가야 아니 나한테 다 인지께서 마셔내 인지 프랑스 어떤 시송체제 에브리얼 터키 지위나 원해하고 슈지롱 세계에서 대규모 대상보대 거기서 그 중간세야지 내가 친구 디폴에 캡처 친구 유튜브가니 캡처 충도 타야 된다 이 수치 보기 니모 샤베지 디자인 드리면 두스 하여튼 대상 로그에 돈이 익숙하니 지지를 봐 그래서 내 익숙이만 전에 슈지 좋아해 이래 게임 니모 써야지 내가 슈지 두서 대지슈도 지죠
我这边是前面的呢，阿拉一个上最熟悉，毕竟跟我俩学校些学业，那么这学校的大家跟我让读书差不多开下，这个学业，你这个学业都学不起来是，那这个学业是哪路啊？这个阿拉先给今年的是那个了解我所长，先的呢这个给里头的这个跟我俩学的穷。 咱们之前呢，那这个上坡那个交工有老的，他忙不学学的，第一那路他把都给没就就估计就给那都差的嘞，就给那有的给钱的，第三买把你给就估计你给学姐都差的，但公共就差的嘞，可能不差下来呢，可能给毛病给对了，啥的没给钱。 최근에 내가 제 마음이 들어서 사람이 몇 개인지 아니 마음이게 이게 이제 이 도리제 그거에 무슨 거야 근데 이게 요리 마음이 가르치는다 데뷔 너무 마음이 시리 빠진 시리 용 거네 지 게라나마 두줄라 지 조류다 뒤지 차로 마음이 땅제 미세기 sab죠 나 지게 배차보다 지 시슈에네 다른 시기게 지리 야제네 이게 시기게 지게 얘들 되고 돈으로 지게 sab중 마음이 나요래 또 드리게 sab중 마음이 나시고 얘라 마음이 지게 드리지 마음이 들어 사대 미비게 지리 구스페로 도베나와 중주게 로마 쭈쭈마스나와 아니 지게 이게 테마다 셰바사오들레 이니야 드리게 양유다 sab중 드리 마음이 이게 드리게 스파체 마음이 드리게 깔하고 시작해서 그런 이 성성으로 중소 송자다 자베 공원에 이 내단이 또 긴기여로 같이 유주 이 내단
Now, Tibetans are scattered in more than 27 different countries, and in India alone we are settled in some 37 locations, both scattered and compact communities. And Darjeeling is one of the scattered communities, and we have been in exile for the last 65 years now, almost 66 years, and we are struggling to go back to Tibet by resolving the Sino-Tibet conflict. And it's one of my responsibilities to keep the Tibetan community intact, wherever they are located. So even though we are physically distant, but mentally we need to be close, because we cannot stop all these social and demographic changes that is happening. So it's very important that we keep our community together, and that is why I have to travel to all the places where Tibetans live in more than 27 different countries.
Yes, sir.
And then of course we have to lobby and advocate for the cause of Tibet in different countries.
Yes, sir. In this time, this is 2025. So, what is the status of Free Tibet movement? According to you, is it possible in the near future, or it will take some time, sir?
See, we have to take the reality into the situation. When we came into exile in 1959, till last year, there was not a single country who recognized the independent status of Tibet historically. Now we changed our strategy a little bit, because what we follow, the official position is the middle way policy. So when you say middle, then of course there are polarities or ends. So one polarity is the present situation of Tibet under communist China, under the very repressive communist government of China. And then the other polarity is the historical status of Tibet as an independent state. So now we are trying to seek recognition for these polarities, so that there is value for middle way. Now when we say middle way, Madhya Marg, when we say, then we avoid these polarities and then try to find a solution that is based on the current reality, and try to seek a solution where Chinese people and Tibetan people can live together happily, harmoniously. Whether we like it or not, we don't have a mythological Hindu god like Hanuman to lift Tibet out of that place and put it somewhere else. So whenever we get to go back to Tibet, we have to live in peace with China, we have to live in peace with India, Bhutan, Nepal, all these neighboring countries. Because Tibet is very large, it's 2.5 million square kilometers.
Yes,
even boundary with India extends from Jammu Kashmir to Arunachal Pradesh and extends into Burma. So we are trying to seek a solution that is mutually beneficial, because we believe in non-violence. So we cannot violently fight the Chinese and win. So we adopt non-violence as a means, and it needs to be resolved by discussion, dialogue with the Chinese. And that should be mutually beneficial. Then only it will be lasting. If you look at Israel, Gaza, Ukraine, Russia, whether you are resolving one problem now or you are creating more problem for future, nobody knows. Because so many people's sentiments get hurt. So this is what we are seeking. We are trying to seek a solution which will bring more stability and security for the whole region, not only for Tibet. Because Tibet, for one, it's geostrategically very important, also because of its location and also because of the availability of minerals, resources inside Tibet, including water, natural resources, including water. So, yes, we are trying to find a peaceful, negotiated, lasting solution.
Yes, sir. What you said just now, sir, that no country is advocating or supporting the movement. But what about the government of India, sir? What do you think, sir?
Now, see, government of India, I told you, there are variations, of course, in stories, but there were also stories that the first king of Tibet came from India 2,200 years ago.
Yes.
So our relationship goes back to that time. And the Tibetan script also came from India, from Devanagari script.
Yes.
And then Tibetan Buddhism also came from India. So everything came from India. That's how old our relationship. So when we came into exile also, His Holiness, as His Holiness always says, India is our guru, we are the chela. So we enjoy a good relation and a transparent relationship with the government of India. On humanitarian grounds, I think there's no other country who supports us much more than Indian government.
Yes,
and that is why we remain ever grateful to the government of people, both at the central and state level. That is there. But internationally, United States is the only country that has a law on Tibet.
Yes.
It was
Yes, sir.
adopted way back in 2002, called the Tibet Policy Act of 2002, which has now been amended to Tibet Policy and Support Act by amending that, by including the element of His Holiness reincarnation. Then last year we got this Resolve Tibet Act, which talks about 4 issues, because China keeps saying there is no Tibet problem, Tibet is a socialist paradise. I keep saying people don't burn themselves in paradise. 157 Tibetans self-immolated from 2009 to 2022. So the first part of the law in America says that Tibet is yet an unresolved conflict and it needs to be resolved under international law. The second part says the Tibetan people have the right to self-determination, which is very much in line with the UN General Assembly resolution on Tibet way back in 1961. And the third part, and which is the most important part, is that the United States government does not recognize China's narrative that Tibet has been part of China since ancient times. So this is again with regard to history, because China claims that Tibet has been part of China since ancient times. They are on very thin ice when it comes to history. So then the fourth part defines the territory of Tibet, because China defines Tibet only as Tibet Autonomous Region, which is only half of Tibet, whereas the United States law says all the 3 provinces of Tibet is one entity. 3 provinces of Tibet is one entity.
Yes. So, in the near future, even the movement became successful and the people return to the free Tibet, but there will be some group of people who doesn't want to return to Tibet and they want to stay back to India. So how do you see this possible situation, sir?
Now see, we are going through a lot of social and demographic change.
Yes.
We are only about 130,000, 40,000 Tibetans in exile.
Yes.
Inside Tibet is about 7.3 million. So these changes we cannot stop. And even within India, Tibetans are eligible. Tibetans who came in 1959 and up to 1985, their offsprings, all of us are eligible to apply for Indian citizenship according to the executive order, because India is not a signatory to the UN Convention on Refugees. So it's based on executive orders of the successive governments of India. Tibetans going out, Tibetans who go to Europe, North America, Australia, wherever they went, they become citizens there.
Yes, sir.
And since we have the provision to be, able to adopt Indian citizenship also is there. So there are some scattered communities in India who have
Is there a
adopted
provision
Indian-
that someone can stay back even Tibet got free?
No, that is not there. So that is
So
why
there
I'm
will be a
coming to-
problem. Those who want to stay back in
So
India,
those who have Indian citizenship, of course,
they can stay.
they have a choice.
Yes, sir.
Those who have not sought any citizenship, who remained refugees, political refugees, that will be another question.
Yes.
Because the whole idea is about returning back to Tibet. So when Tibet gets independence or freedom or whatever we manage to get, then I believe most of the Tibetans will go back.
Yes, sir. The last question, sir. Do you want to give any message to Darjeeling people or especially Tibetan people from Darjeeling?
Tibetan people, I spoke already for 2-3 hours today, so they already know what we are doing, because they elected me in this position. So now I am accountable to them, I am answerable to them, I am responsible to them through the parliament and also through directly to the people. So that I've been doing. That's why I keep traveling so much. To the people in Darjeeling, before we lost independence, there were only 2 places where there were some Tibetans, Kalimpong and Darjeeling. there were no Tibetans anywhere else in India. So this is our first connection, Kalimpong, Darjeeling and Tibet. So we enjoy a very deep historical, cultural relationship with the frontier provinces, particularly Kalimpong and Darjeeling. So even the 13th Dalai Lama had been to Darjeeling in 1910 to 12. So it's historically also a very important place for the Tibetans. So there are some misconceptions about Tibet. Last week I was in Arunachal Pradesh, where Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister Pema Khandu was also there as part of the seminar on environment and security. We also discussed about the perceptions on Tibetan refugees, which are very different from other refugees that come from nearby states, or from countries. So that also set the record straight, because there were some perceptions from Arunachal youngsters over the Tibetans. So CM Chief Minister also made it very clear that Tibetan case is very different, and Tibet's freedom is directly connected to India's security.
Yes, sir.
So that particularly the border areas, people know if they care a little bit about what's happening. And if you don't listen to anybody, then you won't understand. But if you try to understand, then you understand that special relationship. So I always advise my people that the Indian government has been so very kind. Indian people have been very kind, and we have to live in harmony with the local population and try to help each other as much as possible.